Hello, this is week 5 of my fame logs, and this week I'm going to talk about Marlows hierarchy. A bit of psychology for you this week, and I want to talk about how researching it and looking into it has affected my character development and how in the future I would like to use this for my kind of development. So in one of Liam's lessons we looked into psychology, and he mentioned about this triangle that we could use really briefly. So I went home and I looked into it myself, and it kind of shows, it doesn't talk about it, it shows kind of what we need as humans to function. So like the bottom would be food, water and shelter, and then it kind of goes on to those other things like friendships and love and things like that, and then it talks about self-efficiency, and then I think the highest one is the belief in yourself and doing the best that you can, if that makes sense. And I want to talk about this not only not only for my character for Mr. Myers, but also the relationship that he has with his students. So for Mr. Myers, I thought that this could really help with my what if questions and my research with Hagen and Stanislavski. And I want to go into the idea of what if Mr. Myers didn't always have, didn't always have the bottom, like the bottom of the pyramid, if that makes sense. So the basic needs, then that would mean that he wouldn't be able to have the stuff that comes above it. And that put into perspective what kind of character he is, and the what ifs even more. So I spoke about before the what ifs of maybe Mr. Myers didn't have a great upbringing, and I think that this has a massive link to it, and it's about showing that on stage and looking in it in such an in-depth way of how I say my lines. He might be quite standoffish towards Carmen. Again, this is how I'd like to link it. Might be standoffish with Carmen. He might absolutely hate her, and this is something that I would like to do next week and experiment with it. And then I also looked into the psychology of Carmen's character, just as my own personal research to help me with talking to her on stage. Maybe, obviously she becomes an addict and she's addicted to cocaine and things like that, and unfortunately she passes away and things like that. And for Carmen's character, for the person playing Carmen, they would have to think into kind of addiction and how that becomes a basic need, and then they haven't got any money to afford housing or things like that, and it becomes kind of the core of who they are as a person. Addiction would always come first with someone who has addiction. And I also brought into the fact of my own personal experience with my biological father, and now he was an addict, and this is a genuine thing, and it made me open my eyes up to why Mr. Myers might feel a certain way about Carmen through my own personal experience. Now, my father, he was an addict and he passed away from addiction. And the way I view it is addiction is a disease. There's nothing that you can do about it. It comes from a choice of, it comes from your own personal choice. Then it takes over. It becomes a part of your brain, it becomes a part of who you are, and it becomes really difficult to overcome. And I think putting that in perspective of my relationship to Carmen is a massive thing. Now, if Mr. Myers didn't know any of this, then maybe he would feel sad for Carmen because he doesn't understand, he doesn't quite know what's going on. Or it could be, what if he's had the same experience? What if he's experienced the same things as her? What if he's worried about what's going to happen in our future? Or what if he just doesn't like her? And that is something that I would like to do next week in a way how I speak and react with Carmen in the thing. And also Mr. Myers, he also talks about, like, one of the lines that I say is psychology is a big part of acting. And that also is another little Easter egg that goes in the whole shebang. So that is what I would like to focus on next week. Also this week, I've been put in the dance for Hard Work in the ensemble nights. We ran through the blocking for that, and I because I watched it from a teacher's perspective and the students down here, I pretty much knew what I needed to do, and I also knew the harmonies for that. So that wasn't anything that I think that I really needed to develop. The only thing that I think that I can do is have an understanding of a student's perspective. So kind of look into how I'd be feeling that I have just got accepted into PA, the excitement of it, different reactions with other characters, how like Tyrone is late, how kind of over the top Carmen is, how incredibly rude Joe is, and looking at those kind of perspectives from a student. Because I've been put in it so late, I think that this is quite a difficult thing for me to do, because I've been so focused on my character development for Mr. Myers, because it is the part of the show that I have, and there wasn't many parts in the ensemble that I was in. So going in the future, I would like to have a better understanding, not only of my own personal character, but also as a part of the ensemble, because that is equally just as important. So that's what we did this week. And with the triangle that I was talking about, I have done some written research on that as well, and how it kind of explained things in my head, so I can put that also in the video below. But that is what I did, and it's been so useful. Very, very, very good. But yeah.